Young Kings Wrestling Podcast. You got to do it.
Welcome y'all to Young Kings Wrestling Podcast. It's TC Fontaine here. I'm joined by the owner of Versus Pro Wrestling, Beast the Butcher, Project West, the man of many names, known by many names.
Like Method Man around here, bro.
Hey man, thanks for joining me. What I wanted to do here, I just think it's appropriate. We here in February. I know we coming up towards the end of February, but we here. We're doing something different now. It's Black History Month, so I figure it was only right. I'm joined by the only black owner of a wrestling promotion that I know personally, at least. I don't know Master P, but besides Wes and Master P, I don't know any other black
I'm gonna run a
owners.
list for you. At least two that I know. Amped Up is definitely one. That's in California. Compton Mania, another one.
Yeah, shout out to Compton Mania.
And from what I understand, Terminus is definitely owned by.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I just found out about them about a month ago.
Yeah.
They had a little dope show.
Other than that, I don't really know too many other ones, but you know, I try to give some love to where they are at.
Yeah, that's why we here. We need more. We need so much more of that. But we're just gonna jump into it, man. Like we said, you are owner, booker, Versus Pro Wrestling. You also wrestle, of course. You've been wrestling for like
12 years now.
12, yeah.
12, yeah.
It was last time we talked. It was about like 10.
10,
That was 2 years ago. So yeah, it should be 12. It's about right. Just for those who may not know, just tell us a little bit about yourself and just detail a little bit like your experiences as a black wrestler on the scene, even as a booker and a promotion runner. Like, just let us know about the good, the bad, any hiccups that might have gone into it. Just let us know more about you.
It's I'm not gonna say it's the worst job in the world. It is hard, but it is, you know, you gotta work with different personalities when it comes to being a booker. You gotta do that in life in general, but ultimately when it comes to wrestling, like, you work in an entertainment industry, and then you have to keep in mind that, like, ultimately as a performer and as a wrestler, it's going to be different. Like, some performers, they're different people each time they perform. Wrestlers, you're yourself, and then you're this other character that can kind of consume yourself. So you're going to run into a lot of egos like that.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad situation. You just got to work around it and just figure out who you're going to work with. As a performer, man, like, it can be hard. Ultimately, when it comes to being a black male in the business, but also being a different character as, like, with Beast the Butcher, like, that's outside of the box.
Yeah.
And that was actually developed in my heavy metal band before it was actually, like, I started performing as a wrestler as it. So it can be, like, the conflict is that people don't want dark characters everywhere. Mm-hmm. Some people just want, like, strict wrestling, and, like, that's why I have that Project West character. Like, I can be a goofball, but, like, I can wrestle, and nice. I don't wrestle much as a Beast, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I bite, I punch, I kick, and I scream at you, but I can work, man. Like, that's where that Project West kind of came into play. Is like, I wanted to showcase that I can do some flip flop and fly stuff, and I can do some fun stuff here and there without having to be all mean and scary all the time, you know what I mean? And then I can kind of showcase me being a fool too, you know?
For sure, man. So it's kind of jumping into the next thing, just kind of based on that. Beast the Butcher gimmick specifically. We could talk about Project West as well. As far as, like, other black wrestlers before you go, was there anybody specifically that may have inspired your gimmick? Like, with Beast the Butcher, I noticed, like, a little bit of, like, Marty Wright Boogeyman in there a little bit. Like, did he kind of inspire that by any chance?
When it came to the look of it, yes. Marty, actually, I worked with Marty back in 2011 the first time. And then he looked at me, he's like, man, this is crazy. Like, where did you get this from? I was like, man, a lot of it came from you. So I learned how to get to that point a different way, but I got a lot of it from him. I recently worked with him earlier this year, or going into January, working with him over at Books Reality of Wrestling. I got to chat with him for a little bit, and he was like, "Man, like, this is awesome. Like, you've developed your stuff so far from where I met you a few years ago. It's like, it's way different now." I said, "But it's so gruesome. It's like don't tell nobody how you did this." I was like, I kind of got to pass it down to a few people. You know, I got to make sure that my students are taken care of, right? So I give him a little love here and there. But like, man, he was right. Like, you got to protect yourself. You got to protect your gimmick, and he did that for a long time. But
he's still out here doing it.
Oh my God, man! And now, from what I understand, he's gonna be doing a little bit more on TV too. So that's awesome. Big out to Marty, man. Much love to you. Man, like, JYD was like a lot of. Yeah, I
noticed a lot of JYD
and it's the headbutts, man. Yeah. Like, that's where I get my headbutts from. Is JYD. It's like you get that 4-post stance and you get the headbutt in, man. That was everything for me, man. I love that dude. Monty Brown was another one, man. I used to use to pounce for a long time.
Yeah, shout out to Monty Brown. We talked about him on our show.
Yeah,
a few months ago. Like,
that's my guy right there.
Love him. So, as far as like Project West, was there anybody that inspired that gimmick, like, or you just having fun, just being yourself? It was
basically me just having fun, but I gotta give a love to Crime Time. Like,
yes.
As much as I want to say it was an original idea, it is me just being me. You know, it's me being dumb like I usually am on a regular basis, because Beast and Wes are not the same. Beast is who I feel like when I'm like not in the best of moods. Yeah. So I ask people, you want the Wes answer, you want the Beast answer, because I'll give you both. I'll be political for you. I'll be Wes for you for a little bit. But if you want that real answer, you want to be gritty about it, I'll give you a Beast answer. You can tell them fuck off all you want. But yeah, with Project West, it was just an opportunity for me to just not have to paint up, not have to put a mask on, me to kind of have some fun in the ring while I'm still trying to get my work in at the same time. You know what I mean? So, and I have to give a big shout out to Party Hard Wrestling and Brandon Reichart from Party Hard, because he was the first one to tell me to do it without me actually pitching it to somebody. I went out there to hang out for one of the shows and kind of give some support to the Vegas talent that was out there. And when I left, I got a big hug from him. Went home. He's like, "Next time you're available, let's bring you out." I was like, "All right, cool." And then we were chatting on Facebook for a little bit. And he's like, "So, like, I like the Beast stuff," but he sent me a picture that I took over at Party Hard under Chris Mounts. He's like, "But I like the smile. I want the smile on my show." And I was like, "Okay." So I was already planning on doing it. I've already like teased the Project West stuff already, but like that was my first opportunity able to use it, was at Party Hard, and then I just brought it over to Versus.
Nice, man. I really enjoy the gimmick. Like, whenever, I wish y'all would tag again too, by the way. We can talk about that later. But I really enjoy, like, one of my favorite things in wrestling is like the trash talking, like in the middle of a match. Like, even dudes on TV, like Roman Reigns, probably my favorite example of it right now. But like, you talking trash and like interacting with the crowd as Project West is comedy, is very entertaining. I enjoy it. I enjoy Beast too, man. So
yeah,
it's a best of both worlds situation.
So it's funny that you brought up the tag thing, because the tag thing is something that's going to be brought up, but you have to keep in mind that Beast don't like shade. Yeah. So that might be something that we touch on too. There's a lot of things that are going to happen here within the next few months with Versus. So
for sure, man. So just as a black wrestler, as a black wrestling fan, has there been any like obscure black wrestling fact that you recently discovered? Like before we got on camera, talked about how I discovered Ethel Johnson like a year ago. Yeah, I thought that was insane. Like, the fact they don't talk about her as much as they do.
At all. And
WWE tried to throw her in the Hall of Fame like shortly after that viral post we had, and they got something wrong. They got like her wrong picture, like wrong footage or something on the video package. It's just like, it's doing the bare minimum sometimes, and that's another thing we'll touch on later. I got something about that, but is anything you discovered, or just going back to the original question? I know I deviated off track a little bit, my bad. Anything you discovered recently by chance?
Oh man, no.
You probably know a whole lot more than I
grew up on wrestling, so there's a lot of things that are just out of the ballpark that are just fun.
Or there's something other people might not know.
Nothing that people don't know. Like, I think that people need to kind of keep in mind, because there's a lot of negative talk when it comes to like pushing black wrestlers, but there's not enough positive talk on the black wrestlers that have been pushed. And I think that needs to be kind of shown a little bit more light on, especially like the amount of title reigns that Booker T's had, the amount of title reigns that like Harlem Heat as a tag team has had, Doom, Ron Simmons, man, like Ron Simmons and Butch Reed respectively have done a lot in this business, and nobody puts shine on that, man. Yeah. Like, it's so many people that have been out there that I looked up to. Like, I don't want to like shit talk anything, but like Outman Johnson brought a lot of street credibility into a professional environment, and not a lot of people were doing that back then either.
Yeah.
Nobody puts over Outman. Except for Jody. Jody was the only one that puts over Outman, man. Like,
Outman Johnson. Yeah, we put him over like a week ago on our page. Like, I don't know if you've seen it, but we were doing like Black History profiles every day. And so had to shout to Outman Johnson, like first Black IC champ. Like, they don't talk about him either, which is crazy.
And I understand like the perspective about it. Like, he had a rough situation. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But like, you got him, you got MVP, guys that had Booker T, guys that have been put in the system and then got out and like more than shine.
We could talk. Let's talk about this now. How do you feel about how like black wrestlers are currently represented in the industry? Because like even when you have Booker T MVP, like Booker T never got the chance to really get like that. I mean, we all can admit it, like that world heavyweight titles presented a little bit more inferior to the big one. Booker T 100%. Only got a shot at that. Like MVP never had a shot. And I watched the MVP like TEDx talk a while back, and he kind of mentioned it was because of his record. They didn't want to trust him to either represent this publicly traded company or whatever it was that he said. I'm trying to recall it, but it's just you got a guy that's been in the system. You're a felon. You can't really travel certain places. Like it's a tough position to have. But like right now, the representation I would say is a lot better. Like, how do you feel about how it's represented right now?
You got to pick and choose. You got to pick and choose companies. You got to pick and choose the talent that's behind it. There's so many things that I can go negative wise when it comes to it, but I don't try to focus on the negative.
Yeah.
I'll touch on a negative subject. Like, I don't think Swole should have been treated how she was.
That was my next question.
Yeah, I don't think Swole should have been treated how she was. Especially when you sit there and say like she wasn't that good. Like, where, bitch, where,
bro?
Where wasn't she not good? Because there wasn't any matches that I saw there where she wasn't good. So like that's the only negative thing I'm gonna say.
You also don't give her a chance to show that she's good either.
But like, so they did give her a chance, and she broke that mold each time.
Yeah.
They gave her that feud with Diamante on Dark, and they rocked it.
Yeah, I heard about that. I don't watch Dark, but I heard it was banging.
It was hot fire. They put her against Britt in a dentist's office, and they rocked it.
I think that ruined her though. Like,
how?
I think as far as like
ass in that match.
Not Swole specifically, but like the match itself was kind of. I
don't
know if it was just the show was not as good. But
if you look at the grand scheme of it, like the whole show probably would have been better.
Yeah,
if they had different limitations, but they were just going into a pandemic. They were just trying to figure out.
It was fun. I'm not gonna lie.
It was really fun. I'd rather watch that dentist match than watch that Stadium Stampede garbage that we watched.
The orange juice match.
Brother, like they did what they could with what they had, but they could have put some effort into some black talent.
Yeah,
I'll give you 100%. That's my negative on it. The positive is that you got guys like Big E, you got guys like, oh man, like Lashley.
Man,
I've been wanting Lashley to be brought up for so long, and they finally do it, and they did well by him for a long time. But keep in mind, like there's how you perceive things and how things are happening. I love the fact that Big E, Lashley, Kofi, all these guys are being put in a highlight position, but how did you take the championships off of them?
Yeah.
Lashley was the only one that I can kind of Okay, that works. That works for me.
I think it worked for everybody because it was another black wrestler who we wanted to see get that shot too that took it off him. So it was
and like the build up made sense.
Yeah.
Lesnar versus Kofi didn't make sense.
Nah, I just threw that out there.
Yeah, Leslie versus Big E didn't make sense. That was
an audible. I'll give him that.
That didn't have to happen. None of that shit had to happen. So like, yeah, there's a lot of positives that are happening right now, and I think the representation is getting to the point of being there. But where's Cedric Alexander? Yeah. Like he's amazing. Ricochet, he's amazing. Why are you guys?
Ricochet got a win the other night. So.
Yeah, one night. Yeah, he got one.
I don't know the last time you won before that.
I know. We got one for Rick. We got one for Rick. That's about it. But like, nah, man. Like, Ring of Honor did Jay Lethal pretty good.
Yeah, and Gresham, man.
And Gresham,
Kenny, all those guys. Shane Taylor, all those.
I'm in love with that.
Yeah.
But like,
Ring of Honor and Impact, I think like outside of WWE did the best. Is really honestly AEW is the only one that's kind of playing catch up with as far as that goes.
It's a 3-year company, brother.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they have to catch up, but they should have caught up when they started.
And they've had opportunities. Yeah. Like Scorpio Sky, what was that about last year?
Scorpio, man, you got Baron Black with 0 wins and what 48 losses right now.
Yeah,
that dude should be shining.
Squash is on dark by that.
Okay, yeah, Lee Moriarty, like he's gonna be a come up and he's gonna be a stay up.
Yeah, I think they've been showcasing Lee from what I've seen.
Like, why can't you do that now though? Like
Ricky Starks, what they doing?
Ricky.
So, just bouncing off of that previous question, what additional work do you think could be done to represent us better is outside of giving championships and just giving wins on TV? Like, that's kind of superficial.
It is, and that's what it's too easy. Like, yeah, and I don't want like a full swing in the other direction because it just seems like it's ultimately just trying to placate to the race culture. Yeah. I don't want that. What I want is them to understand like where that talent is. I think the Indies does a lot better of a job than any of these major companies with celebrating all talents.
Yeah.
Because you got guys like like Gresham. Like Gresham is walking it hard. Now I don't consider Ring of Honor like an independent company. Like I don't think they're an indie.
No, not anymore.
No, but I think that's the closest thing to an indie promotion that's still doing it right when it comes to celebrating everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had Bandito as a champion, you had Gresham as a champion, then you also have your Kenny Omegas and your Cody Rhodes. Like those are the guys that are still pulling up championships. But like, what about New Japan? What about WWE? What about AEW? To where you guys don't feel like that is not the right way to go?
Yeah.
Where are the people? Like you got an army of talent of all different cultures, but you're limiting it. Like why? Why is that the case? And they always say, well, that guy's not ready. No, he's been ready. They've been ready.
That's their favorite excuse,
yeah.
Right?
They've always been ready. Like Gresham's been ready. Gresham was ready before Ring of Honor knew he was ready.
Yeah.
And I know 100%. Like I met him years ago, and that dude was a worker then, like a strong worker. He was the best wrestler in that company for the longest time, and they just showcase him now. But you also got guys like Lethal that are sitting there working strong, trying to get that in there. Like I don't understand why a talent like Cedric Alexander and a talent like Ricochet is being held back. Like why? You know what they can do. You paid for them, right? You paid for them, so why not put them in that position? Like because they can celebrate. Big E was on some very, very high stuff as a champion. They put him in everything, and they just take it away from him. Why?
Mania season, you know they got to go for the guarantee, but like, how do you know?
He is the guarantee.
Yeah, like how do you know? Like if you don't try, like you gotta. This is Vince McMahon we talking about. Like he's failed before. Every businessman has failed. Every successful
100%.
businessman has failed.
But
so
you notice like that there's a transition though because they had a rock and wrestling back over in the 80s and 90s, but they touch on hip hop and wrestling.
Yeah,
they'll touch on it.
It's a new rap song.
They won't full swing it, man.
Yeah.
But like you got Wale, who's completely. He's been a part of the wrestling industry since before anybody even knew who Wale is. You know, he's got a whole like set of like he's got a song called Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
Like my dude's been on it since
2010.
My guy, yeah, lad.
He said, what'd he say? this ain't no Triple H, it's all about the game, something like that. And that's why I was like, oh, okay, we got some wrestling fans in here though. Okay.
We got Migos on it. They know about wrestling. They
Legit
know,
though.
Yeah, like they on it. Like
Kurt Angle, Undertaker bars, or old Migos.
Exactly. So you worried about money? You worried about money? There's your money right there.
I seen they had West Side Gun at NXT a few months ago. They showed him in the crowd.
After they sued him, right?
Yeah. That was only the announcer dude that was threatened. So they let him go the next day. It's all good. But
yeah, man, like I think that they have opportunities to grow. I think they're growing, but it's like
they following the trends more now than before, like because before they were on a lot of old stuff from like years back, and I think that's more so like Vince is an old man, so he gonna have some old stuff.
If you keep in mind, following the trends is what makes money, right?
Yeah.
So keep following those trends and understand where that money is. You're leaving money on the table by not celebrating everybody. They did it with Guerrero.
Yeah.
Eddie, man, like as soon as they popped off Eddie, they knew where they were leaning into immediately. But like, you don't have to placate to the fact that he's a Latin heritage. He's just a good wrestler.
Yeah.
You don't have to placate to Big E because he's an African American or black man. He's a wrestler. He's a good wrestler. He's a fucking great wrestler.
I think that's what they're doing with Bianca now too. Like,
my God,
she's another level of star. Like, I don't see anybody currently in her tier, men or women, right now.
So like, Bianca's a great example of how WWE needs to kind of build their talent, because she wasn't a wrestler. She was a track star.
Yeah.
And she was an athlete. If you're going to bring in these athletes and you're going to shoot them to the moon, understand that they can do what you want them to do. They're not going to fuck up.
Yeah.
But they fucked her up. I love Becky.
Yeah.
Becky, like when she came out for SummerSlam, I got up.
Oh no.
I got up.
We were lit crazy.
We was ready until
30 seconds later. It was like
it just kicked us in the chest, and there was no comeuppance in there.
Not yet. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
I know. You didn't watch.
Yeah. No comeuppance yet. But why? Why that fast? Like, you could have had like a superstar. I understand the perspective. Just came back. I get it. Like, nobody knew she was there, so they couldn't work out a match. I get it. But like, why then?
But and I'm not gonna trip on that, because like ever since then they've been doing well by her, like getting her those wins. Like, they haven't, outside of that Becky match, and she's been trying to get it too. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as like any wrestlers on the scene, like black wrestlers on the scene right now, is there anybody that we should be on the lookout for?
Man, you already know. Shade is always gonna be number one. Yase is always gonna be my guy. Like, those are the guys.
Yase, man.
Man, that dude is insane. Like, when I say that he's a perfectionist, he's a perfectionist. He wants everything to be right. We can sit there and look at a Yase match and be like, "Yo, that was lit." He's in the back mad because he wants to be perfect.
Yeah.
He wants to be perfect in his mind, not only in our mind. 100%. That's a worker that people need. Shade's a worker that people need. Those are workhorses right there.
And
Duke's
like
another one. Duke's another one. Like, even though I pick on Duke a lot, Duke's a worker. Like, he wasn't just a wrestler. My dude trained.
No, I met Duke before he had his first match, and like night and day.
Yeah, 100%.
From when I first met him, it's crazy. Outside of Versus, is there anybody that you can kind of put us on to? 'Cause I'm always on the lookout for black talent. Like, anybody I see come across my feed, followed immediately. Like, I'm trying to see what you want.
I pick on him a lot, but Fresco's another one.
Yeah,
I always pick on Fresco. Fresco.
All the lights, camera faction to me.
Yeah, 100%. They're always on it. Man, like, they are good on promos. They're good in the ring, always. You know, but yeah, like, if it was me writing stuff down, there would be a lot more.
Yeah.
But I can only handle what I can handle. I can only handle what I can handle, you know.
For sure. And so before we get out of here, first I want to thank you for taking the time to sit down. We've been sitting for I don't know how long, but we'll see when I get to the editor's table. But let us in on your black wrestler Mount Rushmore. I know everybody got to do a Mount Rushmore every interview. But who's yours?
And then it's
I know it's hard to pick for.
It's not hard for me to pick 4, but not everybody's gonna agree with my 4. Ron Simmons is always gonna be number 1 for me.
Oh no, you gotta.
Ron Simmons is always gonna be top.
He
top
has
bill.
to be on everybody's
top bill for me. I'll put. Not everybody's gonna agree with this, but I love Booker T. I'll put Booker T as number 2 on that one. Ron Simmons is maybe like the top bill right there, but I gotta say like Booker T is like not close, not too far off of him.
Yeah.
Too Cold Scorpio. That's my guy right there.
Still
always
killing it.
Day one. Brother. I can't put Marty. I can't put Monty Brown as number 4 as much as I want to. That one's definitely got to go with Bobby Lashley right now.
Yeah.
Much as I love Kofi and E, like Bobby Lashley has like if you're looking at those 4, he'll probably lap those 4, and that's got to be my 4 right there.
Nah, yeah. Shout out to Lashley, like, and not to take anything away from E and Kofi, but like Lashley is kind of that mold of like old school wrestler, but he's black. Like, imagine if like Butch Reed got a big world title push in the 2010s. Like, he's Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, 100%.
That's always who like Lashley has reminded me of, is Butch Reed. So I can see like a lot of the comparisons. That's a good list though.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody's list is subjective. I don't think you can go wrong with who you put on
people
the list.
are gonna pick on like politics when it comes to stuff like that. And I'm gonna let them have that. But like when it comes to in-ring work, putting things into other people's hands, like I want to throw Mark Henry in there, but like with Mark Henry, he had a slow start in the beginning. All the people that I mentioned, it feels like they just shot off from the jump off, and like that's just my perspective because of how I came up. Like I was 85 on, so that was my Ron Simmons. When I saw Ron Simmons beat Vader, my God, bro, like that was me in the living room,
bro.
At that
Listen,
time, bro. Like so,
I didn't have that growing up. Like, I mean, the closest I had was The Rock, but like it's a different level. I can't count The Rock. He was gonna do that anyway.
100%.
But I didn't get it till Kofi a couple years ago. So like to have that as a kid, I can only imagine. I mean, we had Booker, but like I wasn't watching WCW, so I can't really say how that was.
I was the only one that I knew that was watching WCW still around the time that they put Booker over, man.
Yeah,
like
2000,
something like that. Yeah.
So I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, fam.
Let the people know where to find you online or in Versus. Like, just plug everything. Just put everything up.
If you tap in at Beastdim, BEASTDIM, you'll find me everywhere. Twitter, Instagram. If you want to give me my Venmo, you put a 4 at the end of that. Please hit me some more. Versus Pro Wrestling, Versus Pro Studios is where you're gonna find us on YouTube and Twitch. Definitely keep an eye on us, man. We've been doing some fun stuff. Level Up Expo next week. If you want to holler at us then.
Try to get that out before Level Up Expo,
Even
so
if
they
you don't,
know.
we already know.
Is that streaming anywhere?
Should be on Twitch. If not, then it'll definitely be on YouTube within the next week or so. So,
cool, man. We're gonna check that out. Beast the Butcher, Project West, Versus Pro Studios. Shout out to Black History Month. Black y'all. We out of here.